This Protoman review is brought to you by Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store, the ultimate in toys.
So the strong belief from Hasbro was that the Legends class action figures were going to be phased out when Age of Extinction rolled into toy stores. And then an interesting thing happened that was unannounced, wasn't really shown in any solicitations. Legends toys showed up for Age of Extinction. Now, they're not what we think. They're not unique molds and they're not something new, but they're of Age of Extinction characters. So I'm going to do a little review and explanation of Age of Extinction Stinger, a character that's kind of new and doesn't really have many toys, and Age of Extinction Grimlock, which is a very interesting choice of a mold for this character. So let's do this. I'm Protoman, and this is Protoretro.
Protoretro.
The Legends class toys had always been kind of a staple of the movie line and actually kind of made their official debut back in 2004, 2005 with the Cybertron line. That price point always existed to be the cheap alternative for Transformer toys. And with Age of Extinction, we all thought with those new simplistic transformations and those new one-step transformations that Legends would be a thing of the past with this. But then Walmart seems to come out of nowhere, and I believe it's exclusive to Walmart at the time being, but is showing up elsewhere, these Legends figures. But the sad truth of these is they are not unique molds. And so I'm going to crack these open and we're going to get into that. So we're going to start with the alt modes, traditionally, even though they come packaged in robot mode. Now right off the bat, I bet a lot of you are probably going, well, these guys aren't exactly original molds used for Age of Extinction. And you'd be correct. Hasbro, it seems, to keep engineering costs down, but still be able to have a Cyberverse Legends scale, they just went about repainting previous existing molds from the Transformers lore to make these characters. Now, the initial wave 4 of these Legends figures, and from what I could tell, so far only found in Walmart, is Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Grimlock, and Stinger. And the Optimus Prime and Bumblebee use Revenge of the Fallen Legends Cyberverse scale molds. And I believe the Bumblebee, it's the second version of Revenge of the Fallen. While the Grimlock shown here and the Stinger use Transformer Prime molds. Now let's just isolate them and then we'll talk about it. Now first with Stinger. Stinger was a character that in name was kind of obscure because a lot of people are like, well, who's Stinger? He's not an original G1 character. It's a weird case. Back in 1986, the original scripts of the 86 movie, Blaster had a tape cassette who was named Stinger that was a Scorpion. That didn't end up happening in the end, and we ended up with Steeljaw and Ramhorn and the crew that we know today. But that was kind of the first time the name Stinger actually came up in fiction. And then, I mean, if you really want to be anal about it, in Transformers Animated, there was weapons that were called Stingers, which are what Bumblebee pretty much had in his wrists, and they were called his Stingers, and I guess that's kind of how he got his name, too, as Bumblebee, according to Sentinel Prime. Really obscure stuff. Now, this character, when he was first kind of being shown, when Age of Extinction was being filmed, there was rumors that this guy was going to be Hot Rod, and it was like, no, that's not going to be the case. And judging by design, right away you could also tell that this isn't Stinger's original design meant for the movie, because Stinger is actually a Pagani Huayra, which is a European car, supercar of none of us could afford. Let's put it that way. So what is he exactly? Well, he's actually using the mold from Transformers Prime Knockout. And I'll just bring in the actual Legends Transformers Prime Knockout, and we'll even bring his secondary repaint that came with his Energon drill. And you can see right away the connections there. Now the sad thing about it is that while the Knockouts from both versions came with weapons that would plug in at the top, and the single pack came with his little trident, and the Energon driller came also with some weapons, this one comes with nothing. Despite the fact that it has a peg, Hasbro omitted using any kind of weapons, which is a shame. It could still hold it, but it doesn't possess it. So you're pretty much just getting the raw figure on its own. And considering that Knockout was always based off of just a generic super sports car or whatever for Hasbro to avoid having to pay any licensing, the Huayra is now lacking in design here, and we got a essentially Cyberverse Legends Stinger that really only in paint job kind of matches, but the robot mode is where it's going to be suffering more, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now let's move to Grimlock. Now Grimlock's the one where you're going, what the heck happened here? Yeah, using essentially one of the Abominus molds from Transformers Prime. So you end up with a not T-Rex. I guess they went with the one that looks the most like a T-Rex. And it's kind of unfortunate. We'll bring in all the molds that shared that that shape. You got the Target exclusive repaint. You got the Target 3-pack that came with Smokescreen's repaint. It's a shame, really. And again, the sad thing, just like in the case of Stinger over here, originally came with a weapon, these guys, and now Grimlock doesn't come with any weapon at all, and not really looking much like a T-Rex. It's a very weird choice to just be able to have a T-Rex Legend scale, Cyberverse scale, with the sacrifice of it not looking exactly one. It's very dragony. If anything, maybe in your own, headcanon fiction, you could say that this was the pre-Earth Grimlock, before he, met Optimus in the battlefield and in China. And I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there, but it's just, there's got to be some kind of way to explain this to people, because it's really weird. Anyways, let's get into the robot modes, and then you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of major differences. Transformation. So here we go, guys. Here is robot mode. Now, in robot mode, some things start to get a little more apparent that designs were not meant to be. Grimlock seems to get away with it more because we're so familiar with the iconic dinosaur that's been shown in all the trailers and stuff, and the robot mode is kind of a mystery to us, even though we've seen it in the movie, but there still hasn't been enough detail for us to really notice and care. But using that Ripper Snapper or Cindersaur mold from Transformers Prime, it seems to be able to get away with it in robot mode. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to not Knockout here, which is essentially Stinger, that Knockout face is hard to ignore. And again, they put paint apps on it to kind of, hey, it's Knockout, guys, come on, let's try. But it's not exactly there. Let me bring in, we'll do this individually. We'll bring in Knockout and his bro. And I mean, you can see the color differences there. And I will give this Knockout, I'm already getting mixed up. I'm going to give this Stinger credit. It does have a good amount of paint on it, but when you put it next to a Prime Knockout, let's get some focus there, you could really see the differences that there is. And it's almost hard to get it out of your mind, to picture that face that we've gotten so used to with Transformers Prime. Now, when we go to Grimlock here, and then we bring in his brothers, the Ripper Snappers, the clear Ripper Snapper, and the Cindersaur, Target exclusive also. The unfortunate thing is I feel like Grimlock got the shaft here in terms of paint and everything. They really went a simple route, where they got a lot more paint and stuff, and not to mention going cheap again with not including the weapons. Now, I mean, the Ripper Snapper or the Cindersaur came with the bow, which is a weapon, and I mean, it works with the Grimlock. I mean, it's not like they changed the mold or anything, but why didn't they include a weapon is beyond me. I mean, they really wanted to go about this the cheap, I guess. Or in the case of, not Knockout, which is Stinger here, he had his little trident, which Knockout had, and I mean, why didn't you just give him a weapon to stab Bumblebee with? I mean, to sting him with, I don't know. Very weird. Very weird that they didn't go about it that way. But that being said, I think they really just wanted to have something out there. And I mean, it's the cheap alternative. You guys can't afford the deluxes, or you just can't wait for a Stinger toy, because right now Stinger is kind of in short situation of what toys he has. It's going to be a lot similar to Mirage, or Dino, as he was called back in Dark of the Moon. That might be your only route, is this Stinger here. As for the Grimlock, you have plenty of choices. I mean, I haven't even reviewed them yet, but you got like deluxes and switchblade ones and all kinds of different Grimlocks you could pick. And honestly, this one is the ugliest of the bunch. I mean, that alt mode is disgusting to use for him. But hey, go with the Stinger. Maybe you'll be happy with that one at a price point of $6.99. Might be worth it. That's all I can really say. 2 little simple Age of Extinction toys for a simple play pattern and simple engineering. So this is Protoman Protoretro, and this has been a video review of the Transformers Legion class, Legends class, Age of Extinction, Grimlock, and Stinger. Possibly the first Stinger toy at this point. So until then, guys, take care and roll out.